r/ask Reddit. What's legal that should be illegal? Car horn and siren noises in radio commercials. Oh, duck that. Nothing like having your heart jump because of some dumb sound effect. I rage quit the radio every time that happens. I'm getting too old for that shit. They are. But, in order for a station to be held responsible, somebody has to complain to the FCC. When I wrote ad copy in the late 90s, our production staff would refuse to add horn or siren sound effects to our ads. The guy in charge was pretty famous for attaching a copy of the pertinent FCC regulation with the rejected copy. The media releasing the full identity, with pictures, of people merely accused of a crime. It bothers me most with sex crimes. A life can be ruined by a law enforcement mistake. The ability to purchase mass amounts of event tickets by scalpers. Pokemon Go Fest, where $20 tickets sold in a minute and were $400 online the next. Only for their whole setup to completely shit itself on site. It's against company site policy most places. They actually have to develop algorithms to defeat the security mechanisms sites like Ticketmaster have implemented. Kinda interesting. Actually, however, yes, scalpers can go to hell. Child beauty pageants. It's illegal in a metric shit ton of places. But not all places. That's the issue. Pedophiles and beauty pageants are like holding a picnic at the beach and then getting angry when the seagulls show up. Fat Mac. For-profit prisons. Especially when they nickel and dime them for every little thing. A lot of people are there because they tried to escape poverty as an unwise way. Let's not make it impossible for them to succeed. Hey now, the inmates still get 5 cents a week. You're not off by much. I work at the prison and one guy is so far behind in medical. He has fatal cancer that they actually garnish his wages. He makes $1.00 an hour. So usually by the end of the month he has $20 for what he needs. They increase the prices of items in commissary. 2. Ducking child marriage. MLMs and telemarketers. My parents got sucked into a MLM scheme and it's bleeding them dry. Telemarketers can change their number to look like something else. My grandmother got tricked by this because she thought it was the number of someone she knew and they tried to weasel a couple grand out of her. Not just look like. They use real local numbers. I've gotten at least 3 calls or messages asking who I was and why I called. My phone shows no record of an outgoing call. Turns out it's the auto dealers popping up as my number. I've noticed that almost all auto dealers use the same first 3 digits as my number, after the area code. I just don't answer calls from those numbers anymore. If it's legitimate, they can leave a message. I kept getting calls from numbers with the same area code and first 3 digits as mine, which was weird. Then one day I got a call from exactly my number. Not ducking cool. As someone who works for a small, local telecommunications company, number spoofing is becoming a major problem that politicians are okay with because they profit from selling US-based numbers to out-of-country people who are normally blacklisted blocked as a standard. I had an elderly customer get 200 calls within 3 days from a group in Jamaica and they were legal calls because they were US-based numbers. Like small telecommunications companies have to fight our own governments to protect our customers from them. It's honestly sickening. I got a couple from a spoof number shared with the local police department. They said I had done something wrong with regards to my taxes and that I had to pay a fine or be arrested. LOL. Releasing the identity of lottery winners. Something that is supposed to be good is ruined by everyone's greed. If I'm not mistaken, it's been years since I've looked it up, but you can hire a lawyer to prevent your name from being released. Changing the wording in bills or earmarking at the last minute to sneak something into law. I think any changes whatsoever should reset a clock that delays voting on passing any bill so that the citizens have time to review and state their case for or against. 100% this. Riders should be banned. A bill should also have a name and an acronym that accurately reflect what it is about. Government bribes. You mean lobbying, of course. You mean campaign contributions? Let's just call them gifts. Paper advertisements in the mail. Such a waste. Our postal system is only afloat because of junk mail. Can confirm. Former postal employee. They also ducking suck to hand out to each carrier. They give letter carriers tiny little workspaces with really no space at all for the amount of junk mail that comes in. Not using the Oxford comma. Complaining about grammar on the internet and hypocrisy. Gosh darn you, sir. Take my upvote. This reminds me of my favorite Austin Powers quote. There's only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch. You know those TV preachers who keep asking for money and clearly are using it on themselves. That. But I can't talk to God if I fly coach. He only talks to me on a private jet. Convenience fees for me to pay my bills online. I understand that at normal locations the transnational fees are baked into the sale. When I buy $20 of groceries and swipe my card, some amount of that is going to pay the vendor cost for that transaction. But it's insulting as hell when I'm trying to pay my electric bill and they charge me a $10 ducking fee to pay it online. This is 2018. Paying online should be the norm, not considered convenient. It's the complete opposite here. Finland. There are no fees if you get your bill electronically, straight to bank and or email. B. Pay it online. But it costs extra if you want a paper bill from mail. Usually this is $2 per bill. B. Pay in person in a bank. That's anything upwards from $5, usually in the $20 range. It's crazy to me that isn't the norm everywhere these days. Online fees for paying bills sounds like something from the early days of internet. Being a paparazzo, aside from the taking pictures in public part, everything they do is illegal if done to regular people. It's stalking and harassment. I don't understand why they are allowed to get away with it just because their victims are famous. I think celebrity worship is crazy. These are just people. They want to live normal lives, not have every moment of their lives documented by the media. I hear people say that they want to be famous someday, and I always think no, you really don't. Knowingly giving somebody AIDS without telling them is legal in California. Giving somebody a plastic straw without them asking is what they want to make illegal. California is full on paste eating level of retarded. It's illegal in California to give someone HIV. It's a misdemeanor. And the reason for it is, if I recall correctly, related to raising awareness and getting people to actually get tested. If a gay man knows he's positive and has sex and doesn't tell his partner, he's punishable by law. If he doesn't know if he's positive or not and has sex, he can't be held accountable. Better, then, to not be tested and not fall foul of the laws. Talking on a cell phone and driving is legal in my state. My best friend is the worst person who does this. I can't believe she hasn't wrecked yet. She just talks and swerves and pays no attention to the road. In the UK, if you get caught twice driving whilst holding a mobile phone, you are looking at a driving ban. Very frowned upon here, but still see a lot of people doing it. It depends per state, but you would likely need 10+ infractions for talking on a cell while driving in the stats to get to that point. My old college roommate is on his 9th seatbelt ticket and they are just now threatening him with a seatbelt lockout system if he gets a few more citations. I saw a lady on the way to work the other day. She swerved over the lines 4 or 5 times and almost hit 3 cars, including me. At first she was texting, but then picked up the phone and was talking on it. All of this is illegal where I live. During all of this, she was looking downward and never at the road. I finally pulled up next to her and just laid on the horn until she finally looked over. When she finally popped up out of her dream world after 3-4 seconds, I gave her the hang up sign with my hand. And of course, she was mad at me. Gerrymandering. Redistricting is a necessary thing. The problem is that it is partisan, as most states give the right to draw the lines to the party in power. That is what needs to change. Robocalls. I hear daily about my car's warranty expiring and my file is going to be closed forever if I don't act now. Close the file already. Along with that, phone number spoofing on caller ID. I've been getting more and more of these daily. It's become futile using number blocking apps. So I'm not the only one that thought that was sketchy. And they claim this is the last time we will try to contact you. How the duck do they even know I have a warranty? You know when they are doing road work but they pause for a week and just throw down steel plates that chew up your tires and cause you to lose traction? Well, when I am Supreme Lord Emperor of the world, if you start road work you must have a full crew working 24/7 until the road work is complete. Failure to comply will result in you being volunteered for medical experiments. I was originally thinking summary execution, but I figured this way society benefits a little more. Nevada has a version of this. A road crew gets a bonus for finishing early or on time and docked pay if they are late. Driving slow in the left lane. In my jurisdiction, that is already illegal. It's just poorly enforced. Puppy mills aren't illegal in most states. I don't get this. Who even uses puppy flour? Hot dog bun companies. Marriage for anyone under the age of 18. Minors can currently be married with parental consent in certain areas. I can only imagine these marriages happen due to pregnancy, pedophile predation, or money, all of which are terrible reasons to get married. Yes, I believe shotgun weddings are a bad thing. Child support without marriage is better than growing up in a household where wife and husband hate each other. Buying things from overseas countries where slavery is legal, importing those products to the US and selling them for cheap. Doubly so if the companies use child slave labor. Looking at you. Hershey, Nike, Gap, Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie & Fitch, Nestle, and probably 24 others. Many of these companies are actually beginning to build again in first world countries because they can fully automate the process and don't need labor anymore. Robocalls with a recorded message that this is my final notice about my student loan or car warranty, or any robocall. If someone wants to call me and offer their goods or services, fine, but dial the phone yourself and talk to me. Having our internet slowed down by greedy CEOs. Any branch of the government that regulates itself. I got fined more than my annual income because a tree fell during the worst storm I've ever seen here. The tree knocked down a shared fence and several other trees in other yards knocked down the power lines. Within hours the city code enforcement came out and wrote me up. They actually came out, knocked down another fence in order to take pictures of the damage and fined me because it's illegal to have storm damage during a storm. I nearly lost my house over it. They have laws that say you can't do anything about it unless you meet all their rules for complaining. They did the same thing because they said my grass doesn't grow fast enough. They measure the rate of growth over a 2-week period and fined me thousands because they said my grass wasn't growing fast enough. They still won't tell me what speed grass is required to grow. Dude, if you don't mind me asking, but where do you live so I can avoid it? Sacramento, CA. The reason for the harassment was that a real estate developer started building on an empty lot next to me. He wanted to tap my power and I said no. He got pissed, threatened to tear down the fence, started hacking up my trees and got code enforcement to harass me. He ended up tapping someone elder lady's power, rang up a huge bill and never paid her. I didn't let him tap mine because he lied a number of times and I'm a better judge of character. The city wanted anyone to come in and build, so they did whatever he wanted. It was during the '06 housing boom. We went to court twice. I won both times but he never paid. The city is required to do an economic impact. They never did. Now they are doing it again. Any website collecting data on a user for profit without explicitly and plainly explaining what data is being collected and why they are doing it. Also, any site that does this should also be forced to have an opt-out option upon sign up with no unnecessary penalties for doing so. Sneaking shit into bills that have absolutely nothing to do with the bill, or just changing a bill without some span of time before it can be voted on. Add something an hour, change something after submitting it, need to publicly publish it, wait a week. People not using their blinker when changing lanes. Also, people that forget their blinker is on and let that thing click for like 10 miles. Don't understand how people manage to leave it on. Makes such an annoying sound. Maybe it's already illegal, but laws against bicycles riding on the wrong side should be enforced. Civil forfeiture. I cannot understand how this is even remotely legal. Forcing someone suicidal to get help. Or, if you absolutely need to force it, there shouldn't be a single penny that the attempter is asked to pay. Suicide doesn't infringe on anyone else's rights. So why should someone have to pay for not breaking the law? Yes, the best way to keep depressed people from suicide is to charge them tens of thousands of dollars for resources that they didn't ask for nor schedule. I just had this suicide attempt. 6 months court mandated therapy. Had to bargain this deal to avoid being locked in a shitty psych ward forever. Blood tests to verify I was on my meds. Psych visits, etc. No health insurance, but forced self-pay. America. Their reasoning was that it wasn't my first attempt, so that they had to be stricter with it. All the pretty words don't help my wallet at the end of the day, though. Being able to go ahead and have more kids when you'd had children taken away from you due to abuse and or neglect. The problem is sterilization of people who are deemed unfit sounds a bit Hitler-y. College recruiter calls. So annoying and they won't stop calling. That's called telemarketing and it should be illegal. Authoritarian people who want to make so many things illegal. Restricting people from doing what they want based on average opinion from the masses, so long as it doesn't harm anyone other than themselves. That choice is theirs. Deliberately leaving out important details when reporting news of any kind, mostly because it's a scapegoat to change how an event is perceived without directly lying, so that way they can say they didn't lie. Loopholes like that make me angry. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.